It could happen to you. Yep, folks, there it is. Welcome to the Licorice Alive portion of my show. That's me live on the clarinet. And the tune was, once again, It Could Happen to You, written by Jimmy Van Heusen and Johnny Burke. This little background on this tune, it was actually got its start in a little-known Paramount musical called And the Angels Sing. But as is the story, with so many standards from the great American songbook, that was only the beginning for that tune, It Could Happen to You. But, you know, the tune is definitely what I call a touchstone standard for both instrumentalists and vocalists. On the vocal side, check out Chet Baker's version. I call it the Lady Killer version. It's really beautiful, intimate, soulful. And then for my money, there's also one of my favorite female singers, not quite so celebrated today, but nonetheless, she was great. Check out June Christie's version off her spectacular album called Something Cool. Oh, my God. She knocks your socks off. Instrumentally, on the other side, I think the gold standard would be the Miles Davis version on the album Relaxin' with Miles. And for my taste, personally, not taking away anything from anybody else, I really dig Buddy DeFranco's version. He was, for my money, the king of the licorice stick was Buddy. He really was, I think maybe, you know, after Benny and Artie Shaw, he was the one that really took the clarinet into the modern, into the sort of intimate, small combo universe. He did that with a clarinet like no other. Anyway, his version was great. There's also many other versions of it instrumentally. Sonny Clark did it, Sonny Rollins did it, and countless others. So anyway, what you heard was my little short two-chorus version of It Could Happen to You. So here we are, folks. Welcome again from right here in the wood of the holly, and I'm not going to waste any time with contemporary social commentary. We are going to skip the light fantastic once again and journey back into time and space and find ourselves exactly where we were last week in that dungeon of infinite space known as Hamlet's Elsinore. And we're going to just pick up where we left off. So we got through Act 1, and now we're going to venture deeper. And here's just a little review, picking up right after we left. If you recall, in the last scene of Act 1, Hamlet, through the good offices of his loyal student friend who had arrived from Wittenberg, that being Horatio, he's escorted by Horatio and Marcellus to a platform atop the castle, which is Wittenberg, which is there overlooking the ocean and a little strait in the community. It's rather at Elsinore, and he's visited atop this platform by an apparition in the very same likeness of his recently deceased father, the former king of Denmark. And that's the elder Hamlet, or rather his ghost, tells the tale of his very own murder at the hands of his very own brother Claudius. And Hamlet, the son, the prince, is sworn to revenge by this very same apparition. And his two witnesses, Horatio and Marcellus, are compelled by the living Hamlet to secrecy, and they swear so on his sword atop this platform. And thus we continue our journey into Shakespeare's world of corruption, crime, and cover-up, where not one man in 10,000 can be called honest, where spies lurk around every corner, betrayers behind every curtain, and a kind of madness has affected all. And so we begin anew, and we're in a little corridor here, somewhere within the castle that is Elsinore, and enters old Polonius with his man, Rinaldo. Polonius, give him this money and these notes, Rinaldo. I will, my lord, and you shall do marvelously wise, good Rinaldo, before you visit him, to make inquire of his behavior. Oh, my lord, I did intend it, answers Rinaldo. Very well said, very well said. Look you, sir, inquire me first what danskers are in Paris, and how and who and what means and where they keep, what company at what expense, and finding by this encompassment and drift of question that they do know my son, come you more near than your particular demands will touch it. Take you as 'twere some distant knowledge of him, as thus I know his father and his friends, and in part him. Do you mark this, Rinaldo? I very well, my lord. There, once in Paris, there put on him what forgeries you please. Marry none so rank as may dishonor him, take heed of that. But, sir, such wanton, wild, and usual slips as our companions noted, and most known to youth and liberty. As gaming, my lord, answers Rinaldo. Aye, or drinking, fencing, swearing, quarreling, whoring, you may go so far. Oh, my lord, that would dishonor him. Faith, no, as you may season it in the charge, but breathe his faults so quaintly that they may seem the taints of liberty, the flash and outbreak of a fiery mind, a savageness in unreclaimed blood. But, my good lord, Polonius interjects, wherefore should you do this? I, my lord, I would know that. Marry, sir, here's my drift, answers Polonius, and I believe it is the fetch of wit. You lay these slight sullies on my son as 'twere a thing a little soiled i' the working. Very good, my lord. What was I about to say? By the mass, I was about to say something. Where did I leave? Yes, see you now. Your bait of falsehood take this carp of truth, and thus do we of wisdom and of reach, with windlasses and with assays of bias, by indirections find directions out. So by my former lecture and advice shall you, my son. You have me, have you not? I, answers Rinaldo, my lord, I have. God be with you, fare you well. Good, my lord, and observe his inclination in yourself. I shall, my lord, answers Rinaldo, and let him ply his music. Well, my lord, fare thee well. Rinaldo exits. Enter Ophelia. How now, Ophelia, what's the matter? Oh, my lord, I have been so affrighted. With what, to the name of God? My lord, as I was sewing in my closet, answers Ophelia, the Lord Hamlet, with his doublet all embraced, no hat upon his head, his stockings fouled, ungartered and down-givied to his ankle, pale as his shirt, his knees knocking each other, and with a look so piteous, in purport as if he had been loosed out of hell, to speak of horrors, he comes before me. Mad for thy love? My lord, I do not know, but truly I do fear it. What said he? He took me by the wrist and held me hard. Then he goes to the length of all his arm, and with his other hand thus o'er his brow, he falls to such perusal of my face as he would draw it. Long stayed he so. At last, a little shaking of mine arm, and thrice his head thus waving up and down, he raised a sigh so piteous and profound as it did seem to shatter all his bulk and end his being. That done, he lets me go, and with his head over his shoulder turned, he seemed to find his way without his eyes, for out of doors he went without their helps, and to the last bended their light on me. Come, go with me, answers Polonius. I will go seek the king. This is the very ecstasy of love, whose violent property fordoes itself, and leads the will to desperate undertakings as oft as any passions under heaven that does afflict our natures. I am sorry. What, have you given him any words of late? No, answers Ophelia, my good lord, but as you did command, I did repel his letters and denied his access to me. Then that hath made him mad. I am sorry that with better heed and judgment I had not caught at him. I feared he did but trifle and meant to rack thee. But beshrew my jealousy. By heaven, it is as proper to our age to cast beyond ourselves in our opinions as it is common for the younger sort to lack discretion. Come, go we to the king. This must be known, which, being kept close, might move more grief to hide than hate to utter love. Come, my dear Ophelia. Scene 2. Flourish, blast of trumpets, and as they always do, ceremoniously enter the king and queen, followed by 2 younger men, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, and attendants. The king takes his place upon his throne. Welcome, dear Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. Moreover, that we much did long to see you, the need we have to use you did provoke our hasty sending. Something have you heard of Hamlet's transformation, so call it, sis nor the exterior nor the inward man resembles that it was, what it should be, more than his father's death, that thus hath put him so much from the understanding of himself, I cannot dream of. I entreat you both, that being of so young days brought up with him, and since so neighbored to his youth and behavior, that you vouchsafe your rest here in our court some little time, so by your companies to draw him on to pleasures, and to gather so much as from occasion you may glean, whether aught to us unknown afflicts him thus. That opened lies within our remedy. Echoes the queen. Good gentlemen, he hath much talked of you, and sure I am 2 men there is not living to whom he more adheres. If it will please you to show us some gentry and goodwill as to expend your time with us a while for the supply and profit of our hope, your visitation shall receive such thanks as fits a king's remembrance. Rosencrantz answers, both your majesties might, by the sovereign power you have of us, put your dread pleasures more into command than to entreaty. Echoes Guildenstern, but we both obey, and here give up ourselves in the full bent to lay our service freely at your feet to be commanded. Thanks, Rosencrantz and gentle Guildenstern, adds the king, and then the queen. Thanks, Guildenstern and gentle Rosencrantz, and I beseech you instantly to visit my too much changed son. Go, some of you, and bring these gentlemen to where Hamlet is. Heavens make our presence and our practices pleasant and helpful to him. Aye, amen, says the queen. Rosencrantz and Guildenstern exit with some attendants, and as if on cue, smiling from ear to ear, enters Polonius. The ambassadors from Norway, my good lord, are joyfully returned. Ah, says the king, thou hast still been the father of good news. Have I, my lord? I assure my good liege, I hold my duty as I hold my soul, both to my God and to my gracious king. And I do think, or else this brain of mine hunts not the trail of policy so sure as it hath used to do, that I have found the very cause of Hamlet's lunacy. Oh, speak of that. That I do long to hear. Give first admittance to the ambassadors. My news shall be the fruit to that great feast. Thyself do grace to them, and bring them in. He tells me, my dear Gertrude, says the king, that he hath found the head and source of all your son's distemper. I doubt it is no other but the main, his father's death and our hasty marriage. Well, we shall sift him. Enter the ambassadors, Voltimand and Cornelius, accompanied by none other than Polonius. Ah, says the king, welcome, my good friend. Say, Voltimand, what from our brother Norway? Voltimand, most fair return of greetings and desires. Upon our first, he sent out to suppress his nephew's levies, which to him appeared to be a preparation against the Polak, but better looked into, he truly found it was against your highness, whereat grieved that so his sickness, age, and impotence was falsely borne in hand, sends out arrests on Fortinbras, which he, in brief, obeys, receives rebuke from Norway, and in fine makes vow before his uncle nevermore to give the assay of arms against your majesty. Whereon old Norway, overcome with joy, gives him 3,000 crowns in annual fee, and is commissioned to employ these soldiers so levied as before against the Polak, with an entreaty herein further shown, that it might please you to give quiet pass through your dominions for this enterprise on such regards of safety and allowance as therein in this paper are set down. The king takes the paper. It likes us well, and at our more considered time we'll read, answer, and think upon this business. Meantime, we thank you for your well-took labor. Go to your rest. At night we'll feast together. Most welcome home. And with that, Voltimand and Cornelius exit. Ah, says Polonius, this business is well ended, my liege and madam, to expostulate what majesty should be, what duty is, why day is day, night, and time is time, were nothing but to waste night, day, and time. Therefore, since brevity is the soul of wit, and tediousness the limbs and outward flourishes, I will be brief. Your noble son is mad. Mad call I it, for to define true madness, what is it but to be nothing else but mad? But let that go. Says the queen, more matter with less art. Madam, I swear I use no art at all. That he's mad, 'tis true. 'Tis pity, 'tis true. And pity, 'tis true. A foolish figure. But farewell it, for I will use no art. Mad let us grant him then, and now remains that we find out the cause of this effect, or rather say the cause of this defect. For this effect defective comes by cause. Thus it remains, and the remainder thus. Perpend. I have a daughter, have while she is mine, who in her duty and obedience mark hath given me this paper, this letter. Now gather and surmise. I will read. To the celestial and my soul's idol, the most beautified Ophelia. That's an ill phrase, a vile phrase. Beautified is a vile phrase. But you shall hear thus. In her excellent white bosom, these, etc., etc., the queen interjects, came this from Hamlet to her. Good madame, stay a while, I will be faithful. And thus willst I, read again. Doubt thou the stars are fire, doubt that the sun doth move, doubt truth to be a liar, but never doubt I love. O dear Ophelia, I am ill at these numbers, I have not art to reckon my groans, but that I love thee best, O most best, believe it. Adieu, thine evermore, most dear lady, while this machine is to him, Hamlet. This in obedience hath my daughter shown me, and more above hath his solicitings as they fell out, by time, by means, and place, all given to mine ear. But, asked the king, how hath she received his love? What do you think of me? As of a man faithful and honorable, I would fain prove so, answers Polonius. But what might you think when I had seen this hot love on the wing, as I perceived it? I must tell you that before my daughter told me. What might you, or my dear majesty, your queen here, think if I had played the desk or table book, or given my heart a winking, mute and dumb, or looked upon this love with idle sight? What might you think? No, I went round to work, and my young mistress thus I did bespeak. Lord Hamlet is a prince out of thy star, this must not be. And then I prescripts gave her that she should lock herself from his resort, admit no messengers, give no tokens, which done, she took the fruits of my advice, and he, repelled, a short tale to make, fell into a sadness, then into a fast, thence to a watch, thence into a weakness, thence to a lightness, and by this declension into the madness wherein now he raves, and all we mourn for. To the queen he whispers, does the king, do you think 'tis this? It may be very like. Hath there been such a time, says Polonius, I would fain know that I have positively said so when it proved otherwise. Not that I know. Well, take this from this, if this be otherwise. If circumstances lead me, I will find where truth is hid, though it were hid indeed within the center. How may we try it further? Asked the queen. You know, sometimes he walks for hours together here in the lobby. Aye, so he does indeed. At such a time I'll loose my daughter to him. Be you and I behind an arras, then mark the encounter. If he love her not, and be not from his reason fallen thereon, let me be no assistant for estate, but keep a farm and carters. Considers the king, we will try it. Enter Hamlet, reading on a book. But look, says the queen, where sadly the poor wretch comes reading. Away, I do beseech you, both away. I'll board him presently. Oh, give me leave. The king and queen exit quickly with their attendants. Polonius comes upon Hamlet. How does my good lord Hamlet? Well, God of mercy. Do you know me, my lord? Excellent well, says Hamlet. You are a fishmonger. Not I, my lord. Then I would you were so honest a man. Honest, my lord? Aye, sir, to be honest as this world goes is to be one man picked out of 10,000. That's very true, my lord. For if the sun breed maggots in a dead dog, being a good kissing carrion, have you a daughter? I have, my lord. Let her not walk in the sun. Conception is a blessing, but as your daughter may conceive, friend, look to it. How say you that? Still harping on my daughter. Yet he knew me not at first. He said I was a fishmonger. He is far gone, and truly in my youth I suffered much extremity for love, very near this. I'll speak to him again. What do you read, my lord? Words, words, words. What is the matter, my lord? Between who? I mean the matter that you read, my lord. Slander, sir. For the satirical rogue says here that old men have gray beards, that their faces are wrinkled, their eyes purging thick amber and plum tree gum, and that they have a plenitive lack of wit together with most weak hands, all which, sir, though I most powerfully and potently believe, yet I hold it not honesty to have it thus set down. For yourself, sir, shall grow old as I am, if, like a crab, you could go backward. Though this be madness, yet there is method in it. Will you walk out of the air, my lord? Into my grave, answers Hamlet. Indeed, that is out of the air. How pregnant sometimes his replies are. A happiness that often madness hits on, which reason and sanity could not so prosperously be delivered of. I will leave him, and suddenly contrive the means of meeting between him and my daughter. My lord, I will take my leave of you. You cannot, sir, take from me anything that I will more willingly part with all, except my life. Except my life, except my life. Fare you well, my lord. This tedious old fool. From afar, enter Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. But first they are approached by Polonius. Polonius says, you go to seek the Lord Hamlet. There he is. God save you, sir. Guildenstern, my most honored lord, Rosencrantz, my most dear lord. Ah, my excellent good friends, answers Hamlet. How dost thou, Guildenstern? Ah, Rosencrantz, good lads, how do you both? As the indifferent children of the earth, answers Rosencrantz. Happy in that we are not over-happy. On fortune's cap we are not the very button, nor the soles of her shoe. Neither, my lord. Then you live about her waist, or in the middle of her favors. Faith, her privates we. Ah, in the secret parts of fortune, oh, most true, she is a strumpet. What news? Rosencrantz. None, my lord, but that the world's grown honest. Then is doomsday near, but your news is not true. Let me question more in particular. What have you, my good friends, deserved at the hands of fortune that she sends you to prison hither? Guildenstern, prison, my lord? Denmark's a prison. Then is the world one. A goodly one, answers Hamlet, in which there are many confines, wards, and dungeons, Denmark being one of the worst. We think not so, answers Rosencrantz. Why then 'tis none to you, for there is nothing either good or bad, but thinking makes it so. To me it is a prison. Why then your ambition makes it one. 'Tis too narrow for your mind. Oh God, I could be bounded in a nutshell and count myself a king of infinite space, were it not that I have bad dreams. Guildenstern, which dreams indeed are ambition, for the very substance of the ambitious is merely the shadow of a dream. A dream itself, answers Hamlet, is but a shadow. Truly, says Rosencrantz, and I hold ambition of so airy and light a quality that it is but a shadow's shadow. Then are our beggars' bodies and our monarchs and outstretched heroes, the beggars' shadows. Shall we to the court? For by my faith I cannot reason. We'll wait upon you, says Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. No such matter. I will not sort you with the rest of my servants, for to speak to you like an honest man, I am most dreadfully attended. But in the beaten way of friendship, what make you at Elsinore? To visit you, answers Rosencrantz, my lord, no other occasion. Beggar that I am even poor in thanks. But I thank you, and sure, dear friends, my thanks are too dear half a penny. Were you not sent for? Is it your own inclining? Is it a free visitation? Come, deal justly with me, come. Nay, speak. Well, what should we say, my lord? Anything but to the purpose. You were sent for, and there is a kind of confession in your looks which your modesty have not craft enough to color. I know the good king and queen have sent for you. To what end, my lord, asks Rosencrantz, that you must teach me. But let me conjure you by the rights of our fellowship, by the consonancy of our youth, by the obligation of our ever-preserved love, and by what more dear a better proposer can charge you withal. Be even and direct with me whether you were sent for or no. Rosencrantz to Guildenstern, what say you? Nay, then, I have an eye of you. If you love me, hold not off, demands Hamlet. My lord, we were sent for. I will tell you why. So shall my anticipation prevent your discovery, and your secrecy to the king and queen moult no feather. I have of late, but wherefore I know not, lost all my mirth, forgone all custom of exercises, and indeed it goes so heavily with my disposition, that this goodly frame, the earth, seems to me a sterile promontory, this most excellent canopy, the air. Look you, this brave o'erhanging firmament, this majestical roof fretted with golden fire, why it appeareth nothing to me but a foul and pestilent congregation of vapors. What a piece of work is a man! How noble in reason, how infinite in faculties, in form and moving, how express and admirable, in action, how like an angel, in apprehension, how like a god, the beauty of the world, the paragon of animals, and yet to me, what is this quintessence of dust? Man delights not me, no, nor woman neither, though by your smiling you seem to say so. Rosencrantz, my lord, there was no such stuff in my thoughts. Well, why did you laugh then when I said man delights not me? To think, my lord, answers Rosencrantz, if you delight not in man, what lended entertainment the players shall receive from you. We caught them on the way, and hither are they coming to offer you service. Oh, he that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute on me. The adventurous knight shall use his foil and target. The lover shall not sigh gratis. The humorous man shall end his part in peace. The clown shall make those laugh whose lungs are tickler o' the sayer. And the lady shall say her mind freely, or the blank verse shall halt for it. What players are they? Rosencrantz, even those you are wont to take such delight in, the tragedians of the city. How chances it they travel? Their residence, both in reputation and profit, was better both ways. I think, answers Rosencrantz, their inhibition comes by the means of the late innovation. Do they hold the same estimation they did when I was in the city? Are they so followed? No, answers Rosencrantz, indeed, are they not? How comes it? Do they grow rusty? Nay, their endeavor keeps in the wonted pace. But there is, sir, an array of children, little iasses that cry out on the top of question and are most tyrannically clapped for it. These are now the fashion, and so berattle the common stages, so they call them, that many wearing rapiers are afraid of goose quills and dare scarce come thither. What? Are they children? Who maintains them? How are they escorted? Will they pursue the quality no longer than they can sing? Will they not say afterwards, if they should grow themselves to common players, as it is most like, if their means are no better, their writers do them wrong to make them exclaim against their own succession? Faith, there has been much to do on both sides, answers Rosencrantz, and the nation holds it no sin to tar them to controversy. There was for a while no money bid for argument unless the poet and the player went to cuffs in the question. Is it possible? Oh, There has been much throwing about of brains. Do the boys carry it away? Aye, that they do, my lord. Hercules and his load, too. It is not very strange, for my uncle is king of Denmark, and those that would make mouths at him while my father lived give 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for his picture and little. Blood! There is something in this more than natural if philosophy could find it out. A flourish of trumpets, and then come the players. 10 or so young theatricals with rapiers and swords and jugglers. Guildenstern points. There are the players. Ah, gentlemen, says Hamlet, you are welcome to Elsinore. Your hands, come then. The appurtenance of welcome is fashion and ceremony. Let me comply with you in this garb, lest my extent to the players, which I tell you, must show fairly outward, should more appear like entertainment than yours. You, my friends, are welcome. But my uncle father and aunt mother are deceived. In what, my dear lord? Asked Guildenstern. I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw. Polonius skips in. Well, be with you, gentlemen. Hark you, Guildenstern, and you too, at each ear a bearer. That great baby you see, meaning Polonius there, that great baby you see there is not yet out of his swaddling cloths. Happily he is the second time come to them, for they say an old man is twice a child. Well, I will prophesy. He comes to tell me the players. Mark it. You say right, sir, a Monday morning. 'Twas then indeed. Polonius, my lord, I have news to tell you. My lord, I have news to tell you. When Roscius was an actor in Rome, Polonius, the actors are come hither, my lord. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Upon my honor, Hamlet. Then came each actor on his ass. The best actors in the world, says Polonius, either for tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, comical, historical, pastoral, tragical, historical, comical, historical, pastoral, scene, indivisible, or poem unlimited. Seneca cannot be too heavy, nor Plautus too light. For the law of writ and the liberty, these are the only men. Ah, says Hamlet, well, you players, you are all welcome. Masters, welcome all. I am glad to see thee well. Welcome, good friends. Oh, my old friend, why thy face is valiant since I saw thee last. Comest thou to beard me in Denmark? What, my young lady and mistress? By her lady, your ladyship is nearer to heaven than when I saw you last, by the altitude of a chopine. Pray God your voice, like a piece of unkerned gold, be not cracked within the ring. Masters, you are all welcome. We'll even to it, like French falconers, fly at anything we'll see. We'll have a speech straight. Come, give us a taste of your quality. Come, a passionate speech. The leader, the first player, steps forward. What speech, my good lord? Well, I heard thee speak me a speech once, but it was never acted, or if it was, not above once. For the play I remember pleased not the million. 'Twas caviare to the general, but it was as I received it, and others whose judgment in such matters cried in the time of top of mine, an excellent play, well digested in the scenes, set down with as much modesty as cunning. I remember one said there were no salads in the lines to make the matter savory, nor no matter in the phrase that might indict the author of affection, but called it an honest method, as wholesome as sweet, and by very much more handsome than fine. One speech in it I chiefly loved. 'Twas Aeneas's tale to Dido, and thereabout of it especially when he speaks of prime slaughter. If it live in your memory, begin at this line. Let me see. The rugged Pyrrhus, like the Hyrcanian beast. No, 'tis not so, 'tis not so. It begins with Pyrrhus, the rugged Pyrrhus, he whose sable arms, black as his purpose, did the night resemble when he lay couched in the ominous horse, hath now this dread and black complexion smeared with heraldry more dismal, head to foot. Now is he total ghouls, hurriedly tricked with blood of fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, baked and impasted with the parching streets that lend a tyrannous and damned light to their lord's murder, roasted in wrath and fire, and thus o'ersized with coagulate gore, with eyes like carbuncle, the hellish Pyrrhus, old grandsire Priam seeks. So proceed you. "For God," says Polonius, "my lord, well spoken, with good accent and good discretion." The first player steps forward in his own world of imagination. Anon he finds him striking two shorted Greeks. His antique sword, rebellious to his arm, lies where it falls, repugnant to command. Unequal matched, Pyrrhus at Priam drives, in rage strikes wide, but the whiff and wind of his fell sword, the unnerved father falls. Then senseless Ilium, seeming to feel this blow, with flaming top stoops to his base, and with a hideous crash takes prisoner Pyrrhus' ear. For lo, his sword, which was declining on the milky head of Reverend Priam, seemed in the air to stick, so as a painted tyrant. Pyrrhus stood, and, like a neutral to his will in matter, did nothing. "This speech," says Polonius, "is too long." Hamlet, "It shall to the barbers with your beard. Prithee, say on, continue. He's for a jig or a tale of bawdry, or he sleeps. Say on. Come to Hecuba." The first player continues. "But who, woe, had seen the mobled queen? Who had seen the mobled queen?" "The mobled queen?" "That's good," says Polonius. "The mobled queen is good," continues the first player. "The mobled queen runs barefoot up and down, threatening the flames with besom room. A cloth upon that head where late the diadem stood, and for a robe about her lank and all o'er teemed loins, a blanket in the alarm of fear caught up. Who this had seen, with tongue in venom steeped, 'gainst fortune state would treason have pronounced. But if the gods did see her then, when she saw Pyrrhus make malicious sport, mincing with his sword her husband's limbs, the instant burst of clamor that she made, unless things mortal move them not at all, would have made milk the burning eyes of heaven and passion in the gods." Polonius is dumbstruck. Look where he has not turned his color and has tears in his eyes. Prithee, sir, no more." "'Tis well, says Hamlet. "I'll have thee speak out the rest of this soon. Good my lord, will you see the players well bestowed? Do you hear? Let them be well used, for they are the abstract and brief chronicles of the time. After your death you were better have a bad epitaph than their ill report whilst you live." "My lord," says Polonius, "I will use them according to their desert." "God's bodikins, man, much better. Use every man after his desert, and who shall escape whipping? Use them after your own honor and dignity. The less they deserve, the more merit is in your bounty. Take them in." Polonius, "Come, sirs, follow him, friends. We'll hear a play tomorrow." The players with Polonius exit, and Hamlet approaches that first player who's recovering from his speech. "Dost thou hear me, old friend? Can you play the murder of Gonzago?" "Aye, my lord. We'll have it tomorrow night. You could, for a need, study a speech of some 12 or 16 lines, which I would set down and insert in it. Could you not?" "Aye, my lord." "Very well, then. Follow that lord, and look you mock him not." The player exits, and then Hamlet turns to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern. "My good friends, I'll leave you till tonight. You are welcome in Elsinore." "Good, my lord. Aye so. Goodbye to you." Rosencrantz and Guildenstern leave. "Now I am alone. Oh, what a rogue and peasant slave am I. Is it not monstrous that this player here, but in a fiction, in a dream of passion, could force his soul so to his own conceit that from her working all his visage waned, tears in his eyes, distraction in his aspect, a broken voice, and his whole function suiting with forms to his conceit, and all for nothing? For Hecuba. What's Hecuba to him, or he to Hecuba, that he should weep for her? What would he do had he the motive and the cue for passion that I have? He would drown the stage with tears, and cleave the general ear with horrid speech, make mad the guilty and appall the free, confound the ignorant, and amaze indeed the very faculties of eyes and ears. Yet I, a dull and muddy-mettled rascal, peak like John a dreams, am pregnant of my cause, and can say nothing. No, not for a king upon whose property and most dear life a damned defeat was made. Am I a coward? Who calls me villain, breaks my pate across, plucks off my beard and blows it in my face, tweaks me by the nose, gives me the lie of the throat as deep as to the lungs? Who does me this? Ha! Swoons, I should take it! For it cannot be but I am pigeon-livered and lack gall to make oppression bitter, or ere this I should have fatted all the region kites with this slave's awful, bloody body villain, remorseless, treacherous, lecherous, kindness villain, oh, vengeance! Why, what an ass am I! This is most brave that I, the son of a dear father murdered, prompted to my revenge by heaven and hell, must like a whore unpack my heart with words and fall a-cursing like a very drab, a stallion. Fie upon it, foe! About my brains, I have heard that guilty creatures sitting at a play have by the very cunning of the scene been struck so to the soul that presently they have proclaimed their malefactions. For murder, though it have no tongue, will speak with most miraculous organ. I'll have these players play something like the murder of my father before mine uncle. I'll observe his looks, I'll tempt him to the quick. If he do blush, I know my course. The spirit that I have seen may be a devil, and the devil hath power to assume a pleasing shape, yea, and perhaps out of my weakness and my melancholy, as he is very potent with such spirits, abuses me to damn me. I'll have grounds more relative than this. The play's the thing wherein I'll catch the conscience of the king. Act 2. Wow. There it is, folks. We're going to keep this ball rolling. Next week comes Act 3 as we dive deeper and deeper into this journey of crime, corruption, and cover-up. The second act that we just ventured through, it's really about deceit and spying. Polonius urges his man to spy on his son, Laertes, in Paris, to divine what information he can from him. And then he uses his own daughter, who I have suspicions about his own sexual predilections, meaning Polonius with Ophelia. He uses her as an agent to pluck out the very heart of Hamlet's mystery. And then into the court we go. In Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, they assume the same chore. They're working as friendly spies, as it were, to pluck out the mystery of what's irking Hamlet. So it's a moment in the play that is steeped in all kinds of corruption and dishonesty. And it's very thrilling for me to do this. So once again, thanks for hanging in. You can always replay, revisit, go over, read along. This is there for you as a journey into faraway, distant time and place, and into the imagination and brilliance of the greatest writer in the English language. So once again, I'm going to check out, and I bid you Adios. Goodbye.